Crappie are wildly abundant across the United States, and not only that, there's a lot of serious lightline anglers that would consider this species to be the best sport fish we've got available. The funny thing is, I've been fishing hard for 12 plus years, and I can honestly tell you that I really haven't devoted that much time to crappie. Well, today that changes. My friends, welcome to another new series. In this series, I am going to dedicate a lot more time to crappie so I can catch these fish, but on top of that, I really just want to learn more about these fish, and I was hoping to take you along with me on that journey so that we can all become better crappie anglers. My friends, welcome to Slab Stories. We've been getting all sorts of rain. It's cloudy. It's gonna be windy today. 15, 16 mile an hour wind. Not really sure how the fish will be set up. Haven't fished for slabs all year. We're gonna try that first break line with a weed edge, see if they're shallow. If they're not shallow, we'll go try deep. They should start to get shallow here soon, but they might not be set up here yet. There, second cast. What is this? This might be a small bass. Second cast. Oh no, it's a big speck. Holy smokes. They're up shallow already. This, my friends, is the species this series is all about. That is a little slab right there, and he gobbled down that Mule Minnow. 2.2, Dakota Sunrise, 1/32 ounce pink mule jig. All right, good to know. They're actually already getting shallow. Didn't know whether they would be or not. We've been kind of having a weird spring. We've had some nice days, but we've had a lot of cold days, had a lot of rain. Just wasn't sure what the fish would be doing. And there we go, we're on the board. Nothing big, but it's a slab nonetheless, and that's exactly what we're after. Gotta imagine there'll be more around. Typically speaking, you don't just catch isolated crappie. They tend to be balled up, so that should be a good sign. We will see if we can find more. I don't think he was all that deep. He was probably only about 4 feet of water. There's another one. That's a dink. That might be a gill. That is a gill. And it's a pretty small one at that. All right, I'll take a gill though. Oh man, that one popped it. My line jumped. That's appears to be a bigger slab. Shaking his head almost like he's a bass, man. That's what we're after right there. The question is, should I keep any of these fish? My dad's coming to town soon. This fish is definitely pregnant. It's got a belly full of eggs. I'm gonna go ahead and turn her loose. My dad's coming to town soon, and part of me thinks I should keep a few. So maybe I will, we'll see. Nonetheless, got the target species, my friends. This will be a good indicator. I just marked fish right there, so that gives me a little bit of a vantage point. When the wind is blowing and whatnot, it's good to have stuff like that because it allows you to kind of remember where you're at. In a kayak, you get blown around so much, even when you're in these bigger, heavier ones that hold their position well. You know, when you have 15, 16 miles an hour of wind and you're catching some fish, you're gonna get some issues from time to time. Speaking of issues, I've got some line issues right now. I don't know what happened, but I've got a knot in my line, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. Why is it so twisted? Holy smokes. There you go. Okay, well, I'm gonna try something here. I've let out a bunch of line. Now I'm getting it all wet. This is all new line, and I probably spooled it on there a little wrong. So I'm just gonna try to reel it in underwater with some resistance to kind of get it to where it loses that memory and it forms back onto the spool properly. You know, I might have some more line twist issues throughout the day, but hopefully by the end of the trip, this problem will work itself out. The likelihood is when I spooled this reel a couple months ago, I probably got a little bit lazy and I didn't do it the right way. And it probably went on there the wrong direction, so now it's just a little bit goofed up. That happens. Ideally, you get it to where the line is spooling onto the reel spool the same direction as it was spooled onto the line spool. And if you do that, you typically won't have too many issues. There's one. Gah, breaking the dry streak, man. I had a big, serious dry streak. I think this might be my best crappie yet. And I'll tell you, I don't know what happened, but I just lost the fish. And I came back to the spot where I was catching them, and they seem to have reloaded, or at least there's one here. And I just missed one. That's a pretty small fish, but it's really stocky. They're built nice and fat right now. There we go. Not a very big slab, but a slab. All right, cool. I'm just happy to have caught a fish again. It was weird. I went a long time without a bite, and I came back to the spot where I caught my original fish, and I just got another. So, gotta imagine there's gonna be some more down there. There's one. I figured there'd have to be one next to this dock. Hey, that's a nice one. They all look so nice in the water. They're certainly not giant crappie, but they're nice little respectable fish. I'm gonna measure this fish just to get a gauge for the type of fish we're catching, because they're all about the same size. I would say this fish is probably about 9 inches maybe. Let's check. See if my eyeballs are any good. You know, he's actually 10 inches, so yeah, pretty much all the fish I'm catching look like they're about 10 inches long. I figured there'd be a fish or two suspended next to this dock. I'm really close to where I was just catching some fish, but this dock is in the water, and I figured those posts have to attract crappie. Crappie really like suspending next to brush and timber and dock posts for sure. So this does not surprise me one bit that this fish was sitting right here. Oddly enough, I'm actually catching a lot of isolated fish. I think that they are grouped up. I think the fish are just being a little bit finicky. There's one. Back to the original spot. This has been the most effective area. I've caught fish other places, but this is clearly the most consistent area, and that is hands down my biggest slab of the day. That is what we're after, my friends. That's bigger than 10 inches. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's the definition of a slab right there. Oh yeah. That's more like what we're looking for. How about a size reference? Let's grab a quick little measurement on this girthy girl and see what we're working with. That's a nicer fish for sure. All right. Gotta love that. That little 1/32 ounce mule jig and that 2.2 Mule Minnow right in the throat. Love to see it. That is a 12-inch crappie. That right there's a slab. That is what we're after, boys. Love to see it, man. Believe it or not, I am actually going to keep this fish. And the reason is because I always promise my dad I'm gonna keep some crappie one of these days, and I haven't done it yet. And my dad is about to visit, and I know I can catch more crappie, so I'm gonna catch a couple more. I'm not gonna keep a ridiculous amount, but I am gonna keep some. I wanna be able to fry up some delicious crappie for my dad when he's in town. I know he'll appreciate it. So today's fishing trip has certainly been a strange one. I have found the fish and I've been able to catch them relatively consistently, but I've gone long periods of time in between bites. I don't necessarily know what's going on. Something tells me that these fish are kind of cruising around the shallows, looking for areas that they might want to spawn, and they're feeding, but they're moving around, so it's hard to stay on top of the fish for long periods of time. The other thing that's definitely hurting me is the wind. I think it's just making it a little bit harder to fish the way I like to. That being said, they seem to be responding really well to that slow rate of fall. I've said it several times, but I genuinely do believe that if I was using heavier gear, I think that they just wouldn't eat it as well. So that 1/32 ounce mule jig seems to be doing the trick. I might experiment with some heavier stuff in a little bit to test that theory a little bit, but my confidence is certainly in the bait that I'm using, so I'm just gonna stick with it for a while. Obviously, we've got overcast skies like crazy. We've got wind. The water's relatively clear, but we've had a lot of rain recently, so it's a little stained. They seem to like the pink mule jig. I'm not gonna change colors any. I don't necessarily know what else to throw, so I might as well just stick with what I'm throwing. Anyways, I just realized that I'm rambling again. What's new? Let's get back in the water. Let's catch some more slabs. Let's go. There's one. I vertically jigged this fish. It's a big gill is what that is. I saw these fish towards the bottom down there, and I killed my jig, got it right on the bottom, vertically jigged this fish. Not a giant fish by any means, but it's a respectable gill. I'll take him. Yeah, I knew I'd find him again. I found a freaking load of them down there. There we go. I moved spots and it was worth it. Yes, sir. Okay, not a jumbo, but he's good enough to keep. And thank goodness, because I have went a long time without another fish, and golly, did I need another fish. Okay, well that is gonna wrap up today's fishing trip. All in all, it was actually a successful trip and I had a lot of fun out there. The fish are definitely really finicky right now. I think they're pre-spawn and they're kind of in a couple different stages. Some are off deep, some are up shallow, some are aggressive, but most are finicky. It was just kind of a weird deal out there, but I learned some things. And honestly, if I was gonna go back out there and do it again, I think I would have kept moving as opposed to sitting on one spot and fishing it hard. Because I think the reality was there was only so many fish that were aggressive and I was fishing for a lot of finicky fish. So if I would have kept moving, I would have upped my chances at those more aggressive fish and I probably would have kept more. Regardless, you live and you learn, and that's what this is all about. Slab Stories is all about learning how to become a better crappie angler. My friends, I hope you're as excited as I am, because I guarantee you this, I'm gonna get back out there and chase more crappie in the future, and I'm excited to take you with me. Okay, that's enough rambling. I gotta get home and clean those 2 slabs. We'll catch you next time.